March 16th.
Recording in progress.
All right, everybody, we're going to get this started. It's 1:31, and we're going to get the Area Board of Zoning and Appeals meeting, May 16th, 2024. We're on the 4th floor of the County City Building, held in person and on Zoom. We are a 7-member board, and there are 5 of us currently here. One will be here in 15 minutes. If you would like to have your petition heard by the full board, please let Shelley know now, and we will get you moved to the next meeting. I think that's about it, right? Yeah. Oh, no, the raise hand function. If you are on Zoom, please use the raise hand function or the chat, and we will get to you when the Zoom portion for public comment is called upon. Shelley, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Tavernier?
Here.
Mr. Byers?
Here.
Mr. Velman? Mr. Devon?
Here.
Mr. Ritzma?
Here.
Mr. Roush? Mr. Schaefer?
Here.
5 members present.
Okay. Petition number 1.
Location 28480 New Road. Owner Ty and Jackie Nolan. Requested action, variance from section 154.092 sub D to allow a side east yard setback of 15 feet where 30 feet is required for an addition, living space, and garage to an existing single-family home. Zoning A agricultural district, county.
Shelley, if you could click on the presentation quick. Thank you. This is Sean Klein, Area Plan Commission staff. The petitioner would like to add on to this existing house, adding on living space and a garage. The parcel is residentially used, really a residentially sized parcel, but it is in the A agricultural district, therefore it's subject to the 30-foot side setbacks. In this case, since the parcel is really only 150 feet wide, so subjecting it to those 30-foot setbacks really dramatically limits the width of the buildable area of the parcel, such that staff finds that there is practical difficulty there. It's the current home. And looking east on New Road. And then here's the site plan showing that addition. They will be able to meet a 15-foot setback from the side lot line. Turning to the state law criteria, staff finds the approval would not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare, in that this reduction of the side setback really doesn't have any broader impact on the community. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property would not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The relevant property that's adjacent, although it does have a residential use, the portion near this property line is used agriculturally, and the house is actually set back 450 feet to the southeast, such that having this structure 15 feet closer to the property line should not have any impact on the use and value of that property. And then turning to the final criteria, staff finds that strict application would result in practical difficulties because, as I said, the lot is only 115 feet wide. If property were zoned R single family, they would have a buildable area width of 99 feet. In this case, with the 30-foot setbacks, it reduces it down to 55 feet, which dramatically limits the area that can be devoted to residential structures. In this case, I think it would only limit them to a single-car garage rather than the 2-car garage that's desired. Other than that, staff recommends approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
All right, any questions? Nope. All right, thank you. Is the petitioner present? If you got anything to add, name and address, you got 10 minutes.
What is it you're looking for?
Name and address,
Ty Nolan, 28480 New Road.
okay?
North Liberty.
And then, do you have anything to add to anything else you want us to know? Any more information? Why?
There was an existing garage there that was much closer than 15 feet that I tore down, but that's neither here nor there, I know.
Okay. Anything else to add to?
No.
All right, you guys got any questions? No? All right, thank you.
No.
Quickest one of the day. All right, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. You guys got anything else, or I'll take a motion?
Downey Ritzma, I'll make a motion to approve the variance as requested.
Adam Devine, second.
All right, motion is second to approve petition number 1. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you. You want me to make mention of what we're doing for 2 through 6? All right, so for petitions 2 through 6 here, we're gonna read all 5 petitions, and then staff will report once, public will report once, and then we will vote on them individually. Okay? Go ahead, Shelley.
Petition number 2, location unaddressed 53 plus or minus acre parcel north of and abutting 53000 Snowberry Road. Owner, James J. and Joan M. Corman. Petition number 3, location 52500 Snowberry Road and 52252 Snowberry Road. Owner, James P. and Joan M. Corman. Petition number 4, 52751 Snowberry Road and unaddressed 20 plus or minus acre parcel abutting to the south. Owner, James P. and Joan M. Corman. Petition number 5, location 53000 Snowberry Road and unaddressed 194 plus or minus acre parcel abutting to the east and south. Owner, Thomas H. Corman. Petition number 6, location 52001 Snowberry Road and 52258 Spruce Road and 52500 Spruce Road. Owner, Hardwood Realty Corp. Variances for all 6 are as followed. Variance from section 154.515 sub G to not provide pavement on a driveway providing access to a solar energy facility where pavement is required for the first 500 feet of driveway. Zoning A agricultural district, county.
Was that the last one? So once again, Sean Klein, Area Plan Commission staff. So these variances, it's really just all the same variance. They pertain to driveways to access the Honeysuckle Solar Energy Project. They needed to be split into these 5 items because of differences in ownership and in the parcels where the driveways are currently located. Per the current zoning ordinance, drives that access solar energy farms, they need to provide hard surface for the first 50 feet in from the right-of-way, which when we adopted that ordinance in 2019, there really wasn't a lot of guidance out there for these types of uses. So APC staff really adopted that, thinking that the county engineer was going to want that pavement to protect the right-of-way from dust and gravel and that sort of thing. Ultimately, in conversations with the county engineer, he did not believe that it was necessary, such that we are going to amend the zoning ordinance here soon to no longer require it. He feels that it's just analogous to other rural uses, and in this case, they're much more seldom used than like an unpaved farm drive, for example. So consequently, staff does recommend approval of the variances. I just highlighted the relevant parcels here. And this one kind of shows where they're all located in proximity to one another. Some views from the site. And then here's the site plan, just pointing out where all the drive locations are. Turning to the state law criteria, staff finds that the approval would not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. As noted per the county engineer, given the limited volume of use on these driveways and the rural setting, it does not warrant pavement to protect the public streets from dust and gravel. Turning to the use and value of the area adjacent to the property, not being affected in a substantially adverse manner. Not paving these drives should not have any adverse impact on neighboring agricultural uses, and residential uses in the area are extremely limited, such that they should not be substantially affected by additional unpaved drives in the vicinity, especially given how infrequently these drives will be used. Turning to the strict application resulting in practical difficulties, staff believes a strict application would result in practical difficulties. In this case, it would require 500 feet of pavement where it's been determined that this hard surface is not really necessary to protect the public right-of-way. And other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
You guys got any questions? No? All right, is the petitioner present? Sorta. All right, name
I'm
and
Wayne
address.
Faust, work for Lightsource BP. I filed for the variance on behalf of the ownership group. We lease the land from the ownership group, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them.
Okay, you guys got any questions? No? All right, I'm liking how today's going.
Oh, did he give his name and address?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
I didn't put the address, but
Oh. All right, we need your name and
2432
address.
River Avenue,
Okay,
Thank you.
Mishawaka.
all right, thanks.
Yep.
He said his name first. Okay, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward.
And just a note for public comment, we're going to generally assume your comment applies to all of the petitions being heard right now, unless you say otherwise. So if your comment only applies to a specific petition, please say so.
Good afternoon, Dan Caruso, 305 Compton Street, New Carlisle. And I supported, I just have a question. This is for just access to the solar panel area for maintenance, for cutting down the weeds, for just maintaining the solar panel area, not for possibly any further structures to be built?
Well, he'll have to answer that in.
But if this is mainly for maintenance of the panels, that's fine with me. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Or against these petitions. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. You got 5 minutes if you want to answer that question or anything else you want to add.
Yeah, so just for clarification, we won't be adding any other structures. We're not changing any of the rest of the plan. There will be no more permanent structures built on that facility. It's just for the driveways that already exist there, so.
Thank you. All right, if you guys don't have anything else, we're gonna do a motion for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so I'll take a motion on petition number 2.
Tom Byers. I move for the approval of petition number 2 in accordance with the staff report and the conditions set forth therein.
Adam Devine, second.
Adam. All right, so a motion and a second for petition number 2. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Petition number 3.
Tom Byers. I move for the approval of the variance on petition number 3 in accordance with the staff report and the conditions therein.
Adam Devine, second.
All right, motion is second on petition number 3. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Number 4.
Tom Byers, I move for approval of condition, about variance number 4 in accordance with the staff report and the conditions therein.
Adam Devine, second.
Whoops. All right, motion is second on petition number 4. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Number 5.
Tom Byers, I move for approval of petition number 5 in accordance with the staff recommendation and the conditions therein.
Adam Devine, second.
Motion is second for petition number 5. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Tom Byers, I move for approval of variance request petition number 6 in accordance with the staff recommendation and the conditions therein.
Adam Devine, second.
All right, motion is second for petition number 6. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That's it, right? Okay, so based on the testimony presented here today, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals, after careful consideration, grants variance 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you.
Just let the minutes show that Joe Velleman arrived like near the end of the presentation for those, and so it appears that he abstained from voting on those items, but they did get the required majority.
All right, petition number 7.
Location 26711 Durness Woods Drive. Owner Heather Latkins. Requested action, variance 1 from section 154.070 sub C2D2B to allow for a 6-foot privacy fence in the minimum side yard of a corner lot abutting a street to extend beyond the rear building line of the primary dwelling. Zoning R Single Family District, County.
Good afternoon, Fariel Sharif, Area Plan Commission staff. This property is located on the corner of Limerick Drive and Durness Woods Drive. It's a 0.29 acre lot in a newer residential subdivision. As some of you may recall, somewhat at the request of this board, staff recently amended a section of the zoning ordinance concerning fences on corner lots in residentially zoned areas. Basically, these lots have 2 fronts. Previously, property owners were only allowed to construct a 3-foot tall solid fence or 4-foot open on both fronts. The amendment we made last year allows property owners to treat one of these fronts as a side and then construct a taller fence. To mitigate any adverse impacts to the surrounding neighborhood from allowing the taller fences along one of the fronts, staff did add 2 provisions that would apply. The first is that the fence must meet the minimum side yard setback, as in it can't be built all the way to the property line. The second is the fence cannot extend beyond the rear building line of the primary dwelling unit on the property. This second provision is the standard the petitioner is seeking a variance from. So the proposal is to fence off the yard with a 6-foot tall solid fence. That fence would run along the west property line facing Limerick. They do intend to have it set back, but they're proposing to have it extend beyond the rear building line of the home on the west yard. Staff is recommending denial of the variance. This is the home on site with the garage located toward the front. This is the side yard in question. Following the ordinance, they would need to build a 6-foot fence along the rear line of the house there and not any further, but they would like to extend it to be parallel against the siding of the house, but not all the way up to the garage. Here is another angle of the side yard from Limerick Drive. This is the space in the backyard. This is a house on the opposite corner from this house. Larger solid fences of this style they are proposing were not noticed in this neighborhood during the site visit. This is one example of a fence that was noted in the neighborhood, but is of a shorter open style fence. And this is looking down Durness Woods Drive. This is a plat of the subdivision showing the lot in question. It's lot 13. One thing I want to point out is that this lot does have a couple easements on it, most notably along the west property line, which is the one in question. There is a 15-foot drainage, utility, and road maintenance easement. Technically, no structures can be placed in the easement, and that would include the fence. And they can't build it up at the property line, as discussed previously, so the property owner would need to make sure to build a fence at least 15 foot back from the property line along Limerick, since that easement is 15 foot wide. Onto the site plan. This site plan was drawn by the petitioner when they first filed for the variance. Since then, I did let the petitioner know it would have to be 15 foot back from the west property line. And if they wanted, they could build it up to the property lines along the east interior and rear property line. But this does still give you an idea of how the fence would surround the home and encompass the yards. This is a sketch by the fence contractor. From here, you can see they're proposing a white 6-foot vinyl style solid fence. So going on to state law criteria, again, we're recommending denial, mainly on the second and third criteria. As for the first criteria, the fence as proposed is probably not injurious to the public health and safety, and that's mainly because they're forced to set it back over 8 feet, and they're not proposing to extend it all the way to the garage. I will note, if they had less of a setback and they were permitted to move it even further into the front yard, like all the way to the garage, it could obstruct the view of traffic and pedestrians and then become more injurious. For number 2, staff finds the use and value of the area adjacent would be affected in an adverse manner. Although our updates to the ordinance allow them to designate this as a side yard, it is still visible to adjacent homes in the way a front yard is, as in it's not really limited from view in the same way a typical interior side or rear yard is. Especially because the fence is solid, extending it beyond the rear building line puts it in the line of sight for several adjacent homes, as well as oncoming drivers and pedestrians in the neighborhood. The partial intent of having these taller fences on corner lots not extend beyond the rear building line is that they don't appear to block off the entire yard with a larger fence, and approving the variance would give that effect. Also, solid fences of this style do not appear to be common for this subdivision. Finally, the strict application of the ordinance would not result in practical difficulties in the use of the property, partially because the most recent ordinance update gives the petitioner enough flexibility to still fence off the majority of the yard with a taller fence, even with the existence of the easement. It's not the case that they can't still fence off the majority of the yard such that they receive a sense of privacy, and actually, if desired, they could still build a fence that extends beyond the rear building line. What I mean is that they could reduce just that yellow line on screen to a 3-foot solid fence or a 4-foot open, and that would be allowed because we could call that portion of the yard the front, and that's what's allowed in the front yard. Behind the green line, it can still be a 6-foot tall solid fence, and as noted before our text amendment, we wouldn't have even allowed that. So they can still fence the majority of the yard with a larger fence, and if desired, could even fence that portion of the side yard with a smaller fence, and it would still provide a sense of privacy and security. For these reasons, staff is recommending denial of the variance. We did receive 2 letters of remonstrance related to this petition, which have been included in your packets. The first states they don't support the variance as the extended/expanded privacy fence would be inconsistent with the surrounding neighborhood, and they support the ordinance as is, as in without any variance. The second letter has a similar sentiment, just as the neighborhood doesn't have a lot of large fences, and they feel this would compromise the aesthetics of the neighborhood. At this point, I can take any questions from the board.
Do we know, is there any kind of covenants in the neighborhood or restrictions?
I did not ask that.
Does anybody else got anything? No? All right, thank you. Is the petitioner present? Name and address, and then you got 10 minutes.
Heather Lakins, 26711 Durness Woods Drive, South Bend. So first off, the fence will be 15 foot off the property line. Originally, it was only supposed to be 8 foot, but then we are going to move it 15 foot off. There is another fence that is 6 foot privacy all the way on the other opposite side in the front, and it is a new subdivision, so there aren't that many fences because they're new construction. My neighbor across the street from me talked to me when she got the summons or whatever it is for this, and said that she's curious to see how this turns out because she wants the exact same fence that I'm getting. So she's a little worried that if we aren't allowed to fence in all of our yard, that she's not going to be able to do it. She wants to do the same thing because we both have corner lots. Let's see. I mainly want the 6-foot fence because I have a Siberian Husky Border Collie, and 4-foot fence is not going to keep that dog in my yard. And we have a lot of people that walk up and down that yard with their dogs. So if she sees them, that 4-foot fence is not going to contain my dog. Also, my daughter's window is right up to where I want to stop that fence in the front yard, or that side yard, and I'd like to cover her bedroom window so that everybody walking by and all the construction going by can't look in her window when her blinds are open. So I would stop the fence right past her window. And, you know, that side yard is a big majority of my yard, and I would like to use it and have some privacy. So, I mean, I would really like the 6-foot fence in a majority of that side yard if I could. And there's no HOA. I had to go to the agricultural board, I think, or something like that it was called, and they had no problem with the fence.
Okay, so this site plan was originally drawn up and submitted prior to you knowing that you needed, that there was a 15-foot easement there? Because the numbers don't add up, so that's why I'm asking.
What do you mean? Yeah, I didn't know about the easement. I think she sent me the email saying that it had to be 15 foot off. I sent another one that says, I guess maybe you guys didn't get it. I sent it to the email, and it will be 15 foot off the property line.
I did receive that, but none of those numbers he's referring to were altered on it. The 72, 80, 48, 16, I don't think that was, I think that's what you're concerned about.
So the
and I
80
just
foot in the
tried
back, the numbers don't add up with the easement. That was my biggest question, so.
Let me see if I have it.
All right, while she's looking for that, you guys got any other questions?
You said there's not an HOA, but do you know if there's an actual covenants and restrictions on the property, the development?
Well, that's the board that I sent it to get approval first before I went and was going to get the permit. I sent them a copy of what I wanted to do, and they approved the fence the way that I originally wanted it.
Right. But if the covenants and restrictions say privacy fence isn't allowed or certain things, the board can't approve it.
Well, it was allowed. I have a binder that has all the rules
Okay,
for
that's-
fencing.
that's what
And
I was
yes, I
asking.
can have a
Okay.
6-foot privacy fence.
Okay, that's what I was.
Yes, sorry. I'm trying to find, it still says 80. But I mean, I have no problem coming over to whatever the easement so that we don't encroach upon that. I don't have, apparently, I see what you're saying, it doesn't add up, but I have no problem coming over so that we don't, you know, mess with the easement. I just want to come up more into that side yard
For your daughter's window,
for her window and so my dog can have more room to run.
understand. You guys got anything else? Yes? No? No?
I just noticed there's a 8-foot wide driveway gate. Is that also possibly just to put extra stuff back there, just so you don't have it out in public sight?
That gate is so, I have a 0-turn tractor. I have to be able to get that through the gate or in my backyard to mow.
Gotcha.
Good? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Public portion is now closed. You guys got anything else, or I'll
Is this the
take?
one that we got the?
Yeah. Well, Fariel already mentioned it, so I didn't.
So you're saying that the dimensions don't add up, so the 80 foot will technically be only 73 feet because of the 8 foot back to 15 foot.
Well, right now, she's got it 10 feet off.
Or 10 feet off.
So the rear property line is 90 foot wide.
Right, I saw.
Right
that.
now, she's got it 10 feet
10
off,
foot.
but the property, this
goes-
doesn't match, but she knows
It'll go to 75 feet total.
it'll go to
across the back.
75.
I was trying to, because it said 8 foot here, I didn't know if that was the total one. So then that takes the side down to 27.
So, to clarify on the wording of this variance, we're not approving or denying it based off of the layout. It's based off, it just says to extend beyond the rear building line of the primary dwelling. So there's not an actual point, if we approve this, that says how far she can go forward or not, right? Or are we?
Right, but you could say per the site plan presented, and then she couldn't go any farther than that.
Yes, DJ's right, and you are right in principle. If you just approve the variance without any conditions or statements beyond that, then what you are approving is the fence can extend beyond the rear of the building as far as it could, until it hits the other yard. That would be where it would be able to have to stop. If you want it limited to specifically what she's asking for, you would have to somehow either tie it to the site plan or tie it to the window, I guess, that she mentioned.
Their site plan is incorrect.
Right, that would be
Yeah,
the difficult
so-
thing with the site plan. The closest you could probably get would be to this window that she
That, or you could
referenced.
just say not to exceed 72 feet, because that's what it is on here. That dimension is not wrong,
Yeah. In
so,
total,
yeah, in total.
right.
That would also work, I think.
Clarify that, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so if you are moving toward approving the variance, just amend it to say, or say in your motion that you would not have it extend that far.
Question to the president or the chair. What would you guess the grade from there to the tree is? 2 foot?
No, okay, not much, yeah.
Not much?
Well,
Okay. Well, I'm just looking at a 3-foot solid fence you could look over if you're a 6-foot tall person. You can see in to
She
the
can
bedroom
put, she
window.
can put 6 foot there.
Right, but you come out from the house, and if you only hit a 3-foot, she's allowed to put a 3-foot.
She can have, no, she can have 6 foot on the side. And she can have 6 foot across the entire thing. What the variance is for her to extend back forward past this point.
From the back.
Right.
The text amendment
And the
will
bedroom
allow her.
window's right here.
I understand, so she's essentially asking for a variance of 24 feet, is
Right.
basically what it is.
Correct.
Right.
And also to be able to allow the privacy of that window. And what I'm saying, if the fence is only 5 foot to the window, not 6 foot because of the grade, that if you're standing on the street and you're a 6-foot person,
'Cause of the
you'll be able
drop.
to see over a 3-foot fence into the window. So a 3-foot tall fence is worthless, other than to keep the dog in if it won't jump it,
Which is why she's asking.
for a 6-foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, understand that.
Okay. But that house is higher than the curb.
That's true, but the fence is clear out here by the curb, 15 foot. So it's where the fence is located, not where the house is located.
Okay, has anybody got a motion? Anybody got a motion?
Mr. Chairman, since the ordinance has been updated for these corner lots, there's actually been 2 different corner lots in my neighborhood that have had fences going up right to the property line without easements, which this one wouldn't be as obtrusive as that, but having a 6-foot tall fence out that far is very unwieldy and obstructive. So I would make a motion that we deny the variance as requested.
Tom Byers, second.
Motion and a second to deny petition number 7. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
So 4-2, so it died.
Can we please clarify who was opposed,
So
please?
opposed was Tom, opposed, I'm sorry. It was myself, Sydney,
Do you live, you live there?
Two houses, it's nasty. It's not a good look.
Problem is, you won't
did you get Adam and Donnie?
I have Mr. Ritzma, Mr. Schaefer, and Mr. Tavernier as a no,
And Mr. Devon.
and Mr. Devon.
I'd like the record show that DJ called me Mr.
Okay.
Hopefully I say this correctly. So Donnie Ritzma, I'll make a motion that we approve the variance to allow a 6-foot privacy fence, but that under the condition to be amended to not exceed beyond the 72 feet, and also to allow it to come up just a foot past the window to be able to block it.
So, or 1 foot past the window.
Correct.
So, a motion is to amend the.
Okay, so 72 feet or 1 foot past the window, whichever is greater?
I'm sorry.
Whichever is greater?
Well, the 72 foot was for the left side,
Yes,
right?
as
But I'm
shown on the
talking
thing. And you want to make sure it
east-west,
covers,
North-south, it can't go, I see, okay.
No, it's still
you just want to
72
make
feet.
sure
Still
that that
72
72 feet does cover a foot past the window.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, if it's not quite there, then you want it to go 1 foot past the window.
Yeah, just so as long as it
Covers the window. Yeah, so 72 feet total or 1 foot past the window, whichever is greater.
Whichever is greater.
Thank you.
Clarification real quick.
Well,
This is- The variance is only for the rear setback, so we're not doing a side yard setback variance, correct? So it's, she can only go up to the
when
15
she
foot.
puts it in 15 feet to accommodate the easement, it will be out of the required setback on the west property line for us. When we wrote the ordinance, we would have allowed it to come up to the green line on the screen. She's proposing to put it on the yellow, to the yellow line. My question, and I don't know the building code standard for you builders, is a foot from the window sufficient for egress?
For egress?
I
Well,
don't
the
know.
egress window is ground level, so
Yeah.
there's no pit.
It should be fine.
So should be fine,
Yeah, it wouldn't obstruct the window.
yeah.
Okay,
If the egress window, well, even if the egress window had a pit, it'd be fine.
okay.
Okay, so the motion right now is to approve the amended site plan of 72 feet or 1 foot past the window, whichever is greater. That's the
Adam Devon, second.
Adam. Okay. A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye. Or nay, whichever one I'm supposed to be.
Maybe.
Tom, did you vote?
I voted for
You
approval.
voted for it? Okay. So Joe was the only no. Okay, based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written findings of the facts. As amended, I'm sorry, as amended. And will issue written findings of the facts. We're going back to roll call. I don't like this.
Whatever you want. You're the president.
Number 8, location 16790 New Road. Owner, Joe Ann Kowalski Living Trust. Requested action, variance 1 from section 154.092 sub B to allow a lot area of 5 acres where a minimum of 20 acres is required for a 1-lot subdivision. Zoning A agricultural district, county.
Good afternoon. This is Carl Brown Grimm, Area Plan Commission staff. This is a requested ag split for a parcel on the north side of New Road, approximately half a mile west of State Road 331. Petitioners are requesting a new lot size of 5 acres to accommodate the existing farmhouse and related accessory structures, while leaving the large portion of the remaining 35-acre farm field intact. Here's the site, showing the farmhouse and some structures. Staff is supporting this variance because given the existing 40 acres of land, 2 buildable lots are permitted under the ordinance. With the remaining 35 acres, only 1 buildable lot will be possible following the subdivision for a total of 2 buildable lots. 2 to 2 is the same. This is a site plan submitted by Whiteman showing the new lot to be created. Looking at our state law criteria, approval will not be injurious to the public. As I mentioned, we're going from 2 buildable lots that were possible before the proposed split, and now a maximum of 2 buildable lots will be possible after the split. Therefore, the character of the ag district will be preserved. The use and value of the surrounding area will be unchanged. No new construction is planned with this. And as you can see on this aerial here, lots smaller than 20 acres to accommodate existing dwelling units do exist in the immediate area around the subject property. Finally, staff does find there to be practical difficulty in this case, in that splitting the house from the farm field, according to the ordinance, would require the petitioner to take an additional approximately 15 acres of productive farm field and add that to the farmhouse parcel, which could threaten the viability of the entire existing field. So we do recommend approval, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, you guys got anything? No? Terry?
Terry Lang from the Whiteman office. Our address is 1402 Mishawaka Avenue in South Bend. The staff has summed up what we are doing here. It's an older farmhouse set in the corner of a 40-acre parcel, and we have a potential buyer for the 5 acres, and there's a potential buyer there's an adjacent farmer that's interested in the tillable portion. We've configured it in such a fashion such that 5 acres takes very, very little out of production, just kind of squares it up with regards to the property lines all the way around it. And in that fashion, if the people that buy the house would eventually want to have animals for 4-H or whatever, because of the number of buildings that are there, they would be able to do that with the 5-acre piece. And that's the petition before you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, you guys got anything? Nope, all right, thanks, sir. All right, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. See none. Any on Zoom? See none. Anybody that would like to speak against this petition, please step forward. See none. Any on Zoom? See none. Public portion is now closed. You guys got anything else, or I'll take a motion?
Mr. Chairman, seeing this is an even split, there's no way another buildable lot can be produced on this subdivision. I would make a motion to approve the variance as requested.
Adam Devon, second.
All right, motion is second to approve petition number 8. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variance and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you.
Petition number 9, location 27051 State Road 4 Highway. Owner, Town of North Liberty. Requested action, special use to allow public facility, utility, water tower, water distribution, and water quality monitoring facilities per section 4.03 of the zoning ordinance for the Town of North Liberty. Zoning to be zoned R1 Single Family District, North Liberty, pending annexation by town.
Okay, this is Carl Brown Grimm, Area Plan Commission staff once again. As you heard, this is a special use proposed by the Town of North Liberty to allow for water infrastructure on a parcel near Potato Creek State Park. Parcel is located at the northwest corner of State Road 4 and Redwood Road, and while currently under county jurisdiction zoned A agricultural, a petition to annex the property into the town has been filed and is in motion. Therefore, this is going to be a referral to the Town of North Liberty Town Council pending the annexation. important to note, once it goes into the town, under that annexation, it will be zoned R1 per state law, the lowest zoning district in the town. So these improvements involve a new water tower and booster station in order to provide water to the newly announced hotel at Potato Creek. These improvements will be limited to the eastern portion of the property. Here are images of this current portion of the site. The structures that appear in the aerial before have been already demolished. This is looking east on State Road 4, and then looking west. Directly across from the proposed site, there is a non-residential use in the Ag District, a church. These images are more details of the proposed structures. They're from plans submitted directly to the county for plan review. As I said, they show a water tower and then a structure for that proposed booster station. Again, limited to the southeast portion of that subject parcel. Looking at our state law criteria, the proposed use will not be injurious to the public. Allowing for the new infrastructure will increase the consistency of pressure and quality of water to not just Potato Creek, but to the town as a whole, as they facilitate growth and development. Given the water tower and use will be located directly across from another non-residential use in the Ag District, as I showed earlier, and then also over 500 feet away from the nearest residence, the relatively low-profile water utilities like this typically have in terms of sound, lights, smells. Staff does not expect that this will have an adverse effect on the surrounding area. Additionally, water infrastructure is necessary to facilitate development and growth, including for new dwelling units, so it is appropriate in North Liberty's R1 single-family district. Finally, this petition is supported in a couple places in the recently passed 2022 comprehensive plan for the town of North Liberty. First, the maps provided in LU2, which is the land use portion of the plan, show a large area east of town as an area for potential annexation and growth. Allowing for this use here would support supplying utilities to these potential parcels and help to achieve that goal. Further, goal TU3 of the plan directly mentions building a new tower and associated pumping station off of a small State Road 4 parcel on land to be acquired by the town. Given that this project is directly mentioned in the adopted plan, staff does recommend that this use be forwarded with a favorable recommendation to the North Liberty Town Council, again, subject to annexation of the parcel. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
You guys got any questions? No? Marcel?
Marcel Levin, I'm the attorney for the town of North Liberty. Office is 8th floor of this building. Staff summed it up rather nicely. These new water facilities are directly related to the new inn for Potato Creek State Park. The tower is required so that the fire suppression system will have pressure in the inn in the event it is ever needed. I got that question from the public earlier at public meetings, so I wanted to clear that up in case that was on anybody's mind. That is the only question we've really had thus far in this project, so if you have any others, I'm happy to answer them.
It's hard to conceptualize something I can't see. What does this look like 3D? How tall is how tall is everything? What does it look like from the street?
Well, the water tower will be set back a little ways from 4. I think actually you probably see a little bit more if you're going off Redwood, although there is a line of trees along Redwood, if you've ever been down there, which do kind of shelter the tower. The tower height, do you know, Vicki, off the top of your head? I don't remember off the top of my head. The tower height is what was required by the engineers to allow adequate pressure. This goes back to my question, for the fire suppression at the end. So it is the maximum height that we could get with doing the pressure and the minimum height we could do to get the actual pressure we needed. So it is no taller than what is actually needed for the fire suppression at the end. And actually it's shorter than the tower that's currently in the center of North Liberty.
Sorry, that doesn't help, but okay.
Yeah.
it's hard for me to form an opinion on something I can't tactically see and what this is gonna appear like, what it's gonna, how it's gonna affect the public and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure I can make a final decision on this, but I don't speak for the board, so.
Okay. Anybody else got anything?
They do, but they go off our recommendations, you're correct.
No? All right, thank you. All right, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Need your name and address, ma'am, and you got 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Marcia Vargo. I live at 65960 Redwood Road in North Liberty. I live on the southeast corner of Redwood and 4, and my property does face the park. I think it's important that the county know that the first time I ever received information about this project is when I received the letter for the May 8th meeting, which was now rescheduled to today. Prior to that, I received no information at all from the town of North Liberty on this project. I came down here and spoke to Mr. Grimm, who could not answer my questions, and sent me back to the town of North Liberty to get my questions answered. Finally, this week, on Monday, May 13th, I finally received some correspondence from the town of North Liberty on all the letters that I should have received from day one on this project that I never received. And thank you for bringing up the visual, because one of my questions was, what is this going to look like? And they had none to show me except architectural plans, which they included in their petition to show me what it's going to look like. When I attended the May 6th meeting in North Liberty, they tried to answer some of my questions and initially told me that even though I was across from the park on the southeast corner, that I was not to be getting any information, and that the information stopped at the church across the street from me, which I find absolutely ridiculous. Letters were dated May 23rd, 2023, a whole year ago, that I never received. There were other letters that were sent to other participants or homeowners in the area. It feels as if the letters were sent selectively. How can it be that a property owner on one of the corners of the project wasn't notified? I find this to be totally irresponsible on the part of the Town of North Liberty Board and Vicki Kitchen, who in particular, because she seems to be the front person on this project. The water facility and annexation and rezoning, I'm requesting an unfavorable recommendation because the town of North Liberty has breached and violated their fiduciary responsibility to keep county residents informed of the project, to keep them informed of their intentions, their purchase of the land, and the effect on area homes already established in the area. The area is currently zoned agricultural, and I feel it should remain agricultural. A water facility, so it can be annexed, gives undue power to the town of North Liberty, which they have already abused by keeping county property owners in the dark about a massive infrastructure project.
You got 1 minute.
Okay? The site is now agricultural and should remain agricultural. It went on to say that in the petition that the area should be compatible with the area. The site is not compatible in the area for a major infrastructure project because the area is surrounded by homes, mostly one church, but north, south, east, west, there are homes, not shown in the drawing in these pictures. The public facilities may fit into the town of North Liberty, but it doesn't fit the standards of an agricultural district. Finally, I feel that the project will affect my property value in a negative way. I did not move out to the country to live across an infrastructure project. In my opinion, if I were buying property today, it wouldn't be across from a major infrastructure water facility. Basically,
Ma'am, your 5 minutes is
am
up.
I done?
Yep.
All right.
Sorry. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. See none. Any on Zoom? See none. Public portion is now closed. You got 5 minutes.
All notices for the North Liberty Water Project were sent out according to NDOT standards. We're actually confusing two separate things in the notices.
Gentlemen, please speak up. I cannot hear him.
All notices were sent out pursuant to NDOT standards for the water and sewer project. We're actually conflating two separate notice processes. The water and sewer lines notices were sent out. Her address was on the list. We double checked. So if the notices were not received, we're not sure why, because they were also not returned to NDOT. Notice was obviously received of this, which is why she is here, and those are two separate projects, two separate issues. So all notices have been satisfied. As far as characteristics with the issue, the neighborhoods and the areas, there are water towers and industrial zones scattered throughout State Road 4, State Road 6, State Road 23. This is not out of characteristic for sites likewise in the county. This is on a state highway. Third, property values. The town of North Liberty, since this project has been announced, has already received inquiries from individuals offering 2 to 3 times what was prior market rate value for the properties along State Road 4. There's a number of developers who are looking to put parcels together. The individual who spoke came to a North Liberty Town Council meeting. She was asked that if she had any interest in selling or any interest in talking to any of the developers, we'd be more than happy to match her up and talk to them. So this will not have a negative impact on property values. We've already seen that it's going to have a positive impact. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So the town's looking to rezone, or looking to annex. It's currently zoned ag. So is it special use, if we approve this special use, do they have to go for that again once they try and rezone it in residential?
No,
This is for the residential pending
But it's
zoning.
currently zoned ag.
It's
So-
zoned ag in the county. What we're looking at today is it's in the process of annexing. At the end of the annexation, it will be brought in R1, and this is for a special use in that R1 district in the town. So it's, if this were to go from the town council and then the town council in North Liberty approves it, it would take effect upon the annexation occurring, essentially. It would be like floating with no effect until it hits the annexation becomes effective, and then
I guess procedurally.
Boom,
it would make more
R1
sense
with
to do the
special use.
annexation first, wouldn't it?
It has to, they have to be able to pull Abby Wiles, APC Director, they have to be able to pull a building permit to make it eligible for annexation.
Yeah, we kind of ran into a strange sort of snarl of catch-22 requirements in terms of you had to have a permission from here to move on to the other thing, even though it made more sense to do it the other way. So this is a requirement to show that the building permit can be pulled that will allow the annexation to happen, which will then allow for the actual special use to come into effect.
So then is it allowed under ag currently as it sits, or does that need a special use under ag currently as it sits?
It is not a permitted or a special use under ag. But
Could they even pull a building permit under the current without an annex? I mean, I guess it's a catch-22, but I'll just.
This is a convoluted,
yeah,
very special circumstance that we've worked out with the town and Brandy and how to bring it forward to make it eligible for the annexation. I mean, you'll notice that it's not contiguous to the town. It doesn't meet the traditional requirement because there's a specific statute in Indiana code for annexation for these types of projects.
We had to come up with a process that made enough sense to make it able to happen, because the state, with that statute, seems to suggest that they think that it should be able to. And this was, practically speaking, the only path we could really see to make it work.
So they can annex without it being contiguous?
Correct.
Under certain state statutes for related to these kinds of facilities, it's a specific thing just for that.
So, in talking with Brandy about this petition, you would provide a recommendation to the town. The town would have to act within the statutory deadline, which is 60 days, but then it just is, it goes into effect once annexed into the town and it's zoned R1.
I get it, and we have no control of the annexation part, so. What's my concern?
So we're just making a recommendation right now. We're not actually approving it.
Yeah, we're making a recommendation.
That is correct. It's a recommendation to the North Liberty Town Council pending their annexation of this parcel.
Well, okay, for the attorney, did the town consider any other sites outside of this one?
Yes, this site was actually chosen by the governor and DNR. It is, North Liberty's original preference was putting the water tower inside the park. DNR required it would be outside the park. This site met the elevation requirements and a number of other factors that the engineers required for the water tower. Once again, it all has to do with the water system and water pressure for the inn. That's why this site was chosen.
Thanks.
Mine's just another general comment to this thing. You both have just told us this is a very complicated, convoluted way to get to a means to an end. We don't have enough information. We're the first step in the process, or at least I don't feel I have enough information on this. So we're asked to make a decision or make a recommendation based off incomplete information.
You're asked to make a recommendation as to whether or not they're allowed to put a facility of this kind there. It's up to you whether you think that you need to have all the details of a facility in order to say, in general, the facility is allowed.
Understood. Just stating my opinion that I do. But it's still just a recommendation of town council, whoever the heck they want.
Yes, that is correct. It's a recommendation to the town council, and they can do what they want with it.
Question, how big is the footprint of the actual area where the water tower's gonna be?
There's a drawing.
They can bring back up.
Yeah, I know.
It's actually a small, I mean, it's just a few acres in the corner.
And it's about a 30-acre parcel,
Yes.
so why do they need the rest of the ground?
That was one parcel that was sold. So when they purchased, the seller did not want to split the parcel. They just wanted to dispose of the entire parcel. So when we purchased the parcel, everything came with it. And actually, there will be, not that there's actual structures, but there is a well field that will go in to help support the water needs of the park and the additional growth. And so those wells aren't actually shown on here, and they're not, they're not traditional structures. You're not going to see them as rises above the ground like you would the water tower, but additional land will be used for the wells.
Joe, I would like to add that in the plan review submittal, we did find that the ultimate height of the tower will be slightly higher than 184 feet from the elevation submitted.
Pretty tall.
So it looks like the footprint is 100 by 90.
Yeah,
I can read it.
I can't.
the chain link fence is 100 by 90, right? Okay.
Thanks, Marcel. All right, guys got anything else, or I'll take a motion?
Adam Devon. I'd like to make a recommendation that we send item number 9 to the Town Council of North Liberty with a favorable recommendation.
Donnie Ritzmel, second.
All right. Motion is second to send a favorable recommendation for petition number 9 to the North Liberty Town Council.
Before we take a vote, can I abstain? 'Cause
You
I
can
don't-
only abstain if you ask for permission from the board to abstain.
I think my reason doesn't have to do with what the actual permission, the petition is for, so, but it's principle. Whatever, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, so there was a motion and a second to send a favorable recommendation for petition number 9 to the North Liberty Town Council. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
So Joe is the no.
I don't think Sydney voted.
I did.
You need to.
I'm still thinking of it. Because I look at it a couple different directions. I'm gonna vote no.
You're voting no. All right, Sydney and Joe are a no. Based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals will send a favorable recommendation to the Town of North Liberty's Town Council and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you.
I need to abstain from the next one.
You need to do that now, before she reads it. Or she needs to read it.
She
and
needs
then
to
he
read it, and
yeah.
then he can make the request to abstain and give you the reason, because my understanding from Shelley is it's not financial.
She said, yeah, she said the reasoning behind you abstaining from the next petition is not financial. So.
No, it's because it's relatives. This is my sister.
Do you feel that makes it so you are unable to be impartial?
I am impartial on what's being done here, yes.
Okay, so if you want to abstain, then you need to ask for permission in that case. So Shelley will read it, and then you'll ask the board to let you abstain.
Location 63073 State Road 331 Highway. Owner Tony Schaefer. Requested action from section 154.092 sub A to allow a lot area of 1.83 acres where a minimum of 20 acres is required for a lot in a one lot and one outlot subdivision. Zoning A agricultural district, county.
No, may I abstain from the board?
Clarify your position. You said you can be impartial, you can't be impartial.
I cannot be impartial.
Okay, then, yeah.
Okay, I thought you said that you could.
That's what I thought he said, too.
If you feel that you cannot be impartial, then you have a conflict and you can be excused from the room while it's considered, so.
Mainly because of 12 and 13 on this. Meaning I got an opinion.
Okay, so if you cannot be impartial, that is a conflict and you need to go sit in the hallway while it's being considered. I misheard you earlier, I apologize.
You didn't miss here, I heard the same thing.
Okay.
All right, we good? Okay. Sean Klein, Area Plan Commission staff. This variance request would allow the petitioner to split off the existing home and outbuildings from the cultivated acreage on this agricultural parcel seen here. This is the property as viewed from 331, and then looking out onto 331. If the variance is granted, the petitioner would follow up with a minor subdivision, which would split off 1.83 acres containing that existing house and outbuildings from the rest of the farm. The farmed acreage will be placed into a 21-acre outlot. This outlot does not have enough road frontage such that it could be converted into a buildable lot by right. So therefore, this action would not result in the establishment of a new buildable lot beyond what is currently permitted by right in the agricultural district. Turning to the three state law criteria, as the variance would not allow for the establishment of a new residential use in the agricultural district. We find that it would not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Similarly, since the outlot cannot be converted into a new buildable lot, the parcel will be used pretty much just as it is now with the residential portion and then the farmed acreage, such that it would not have any real impact on the use and value of the adjacent area. And thirdly, we do think that there's practical difficulty in compliance with the ordinance, as it would prohibit the property owner from separating the home and the farm such that it could be owned separately in the future, which might increase the use and value of both properties. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
You guys got any questions? Nope. Terry?
Terry Lang from the Whiteman office. Our address is 1402 Mishawaka Avenue in South Bend. Represent the petitioner here, Tony Schaefer. As the staff had indicated, we have a 23-acre parcel, and we're cutting off just enough around the farmyard area to accommodate. The balance of the property then will remain agricultural and be placed into an outlot as we go through the platting process. And if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions?
Just in my packet, I had two different variance requests, one for 5, one for 1.83. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same.
It's 1.83.
So the one that's requesting it down to 5 is not accurate?
That is not accurate. That's correct.
No, mine's 1.83.
And that's how it was advertised and on the agenda, so we're good.
Sure. That's what it says file on there.
Donnie's got the same one. Oh, wait, so do I. It's in the back of my packet. Variance from the required 5 acres to, or 20 acres to 5 acres.
For some reason, there's applications for both, but it's 1.83. So I don't know what that is. Anyway, that's what was on the agenda and advertised, 1.83, and that's what they want.
I corrected submittal.
Well, but the one from, required from 20 acres to 5 acres was the one that says it was filed.
Filed, yeah. The other one doesn't say filed. Does it matter?
Yes, it just wasn't stamped. Yeah.
Did they mix in the Kowalski one?
Wait, it's stamped on the other side.
That's submitted like that, and then
Okay.
there was a corrected submittal.
Okay.
What?
We're good. No.
Terry, can you please confirm that it's 1.83 acres?
It is 1.83
All right.
acres.
As advertised and as appearing on the agenda.
All right, you guys got any questions?
No?
Do a catch.
Tell me the story. Same thing I tell all my people. Give me a story and I can make a decision. Don't give me a story, I can't give you a decision.
Okay, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Also seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed.
Mr. Chairman, seeing that we are not allowing another additional buildable lot when we section off this 1.83 acres, I make a motion to approve the variance as requested.
Adam Devon, second.
Motion and a second to approve petition number 10. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Based on the testimony presented here today, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals, after careful consideration, grants your variance and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you.
Anybody will let Sid back in?
No?
I'm just telling you how I see it.
Yep.
You get a tan on your blue white legs.
I do. Hustle up. Hustle up. Hustle up.
Tom's got a place to eat.
Petition number 11, location 56368 Elmer Street. Owner Michael Swanson. Requested action. Variance number 1 from section 154.107 sub C2 to allow a side south yard setback of 4 foot 6 inches for a proposed accessory structure where 6 foot is required for lots less than 12,000 square feet in area. Variance number 2 from section 154.070 sub C2A2 to allow a rear east yard setback of 7 foot where 8 foot is required for proposed accessory structure. Zoning R single family district, county.
Good afternoon. This is Carl Brongrim, Area Plan Commission staff. This petition is for a property on Elmer Street. I apologize, the aerial has the incorrect address on the top, but it is correct in your packet. So the petitioner has recently demoed their aging garage on site, and they're looking to replace it with a new 18 by 50 garage. While this garage is slightly larger than the historical 16 by 22 structure, they are going to put it on top of the existing footprint of the old garage. Staff does recommend approval. Here's the subject house on the site. Another view of the house. You can actually see the neighboring detached garage here. In general, if you could tell from this aerial, it is typical in this neighborhood for detached garages to be closer to the side property lines than what would normally be allowed by the zoning ordinance, it appears. Here you can see a footprint of the old garage that, again, they will be putting on top of this. This is the site plan submitted by the petitioner. The garage will be no closer to the southern property line than the historical garage, as I mentioned, and it will be 7 feet from the rear property line. Looking at state law criteria, staff does not feel that the approval of the variance will be injurious. As I mentioned again, the proposed structure will be no closer to the property line than the historical garage, which has not drawn any complaints. And then any injury from the reduced rear yard setback would be limited to the property to the east, which is currently a vacant field. Use and value will remain the same. Again, as you can see from this aerial, the garage will not be out of character for the neighborhood with respect to either size or location. Finally, staff does feel that practical difficulties do exist in this case. The location is optimal for the garage given the location of the septic infrastructure found in the middle of the yard. And the size of the accessory structure at 900 square feet is still less than the permitted 960 square feet that would be allowed by the ordinance. So the size, requesting for a larger garage we feel is not unreasonable in this case. If you have any other questions, I would be happy to take them now.
How big is, isn't there part of the ordinance that you can't have an accessory structure bigger than the primary?
So that's if it's attached. For detached structures, the ordinance is actually on a lot this size. It is the square footage, like the footprint of the home, or 960 square feet, whichever is larger. And in this case, 960 is the.
Good. So petitioner present, the petitioner present. All right, name and address, and you got 10 minutes.
Good evening, Board. My name is Michael Swanson. Address is 56368 Elmer Avenue. I'm the petitioner and property owner. I thank the staff for summing up the variances quite well. The only thing I could add is just the variances requested align with the neighborhood characteristics and aesthetic appeal of the area, and the variance requests are in line with existing layout and practices within the neighborhood. Other than that, I'm open for any questions you might have.
All right, so I got a question. Go back one picture. So is that concrete new?
No, that's from the existing structure that was demoed about a month ago.
Okay. That was my only question. It looked new.
Well, I don't disagree with the 4 foot 6 inches on the what I believe is going to be the south property line.
Yep.
You can't pull it back in 1 foot to meet the rear property line?
I could, but like it puts it in closer proximity to the residential structure, which then poses risks
You're
for.
gonna reduce the overall footprint. Everything else stays the same, you just don't build 1 foot further out.
Yeah, I'm open for that consideration. Yeah, I mean,
I agree with you that it's in character with the rest of with the proximity to the side yard, but no one else has any outbuildings go that far back is what it appears to me, so and it's only
there's
1 foot.
right. I mean, there's I don't know. You can't see it in the picture here, about 4 or 5 houses back. I mean, they're pretty close to the back property line, like within a couple feet from my observation, but I haven't like physically walked up to the property to measure it myself. So.
And Carl, he technically can still have, this building is short, what, 90 square feet, you said, I think, or something?
60? Are you talking permitted under the ordinance?
Yeah, of what you could have?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So it could, are you asking about the size of this building?
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was 90 square feet or whatever.
Yes.
So you could actually have 60 square feet more?
60 square foot more, but the constraints of the property make
Yeah.
it so it would be difficult to do that within the ordinance. In terms of setback.
Understand. Okay, anything else, Joe? Nope. You guys got anything? No? Nope. All right, thanks, sir. All right, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Is there anybody who would like to speak against this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Public portion is now closed.
Mr. Chairman, per the petitioner's petition, the 4'6" on the proposed side yard does meet, I mean, it was where the existing garage was. It does probably, looks like it matches where most other locations are for similar properties in the same neighborhood. And while 1 foot over the property or the setback is infinitesimal, no one's gonna notice it, so I make a motion to approve all variances as requested.
Adam Devon, second.
All right, motion and a second to approve petition number 11 as written. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Based on testimony presented here today, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals, after careful consideration, grants your variances and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you. 12.
Number 12, location 65041 Kenilworth Road and 20020 Osborne Road. Owner, John R. D. Clark and Marilyn K. Miller. Requested action from section 154.092 sub A to allow a lot area of 3.5 acres where a minimum of 20 acres is required for a 2-lot subdivision. Variance number 2 from section 154.092 sub D to allow a 9-foot front yard east setback where 35 feet is required for a single-family home. Zoning R single-family district, county.
Far Sharif Area Plan Commission staff. This variance concerns a couple parcels. One is that smaller half-acre one on the southwest corner of Osborne and Kenilworth containing a house. The remaining larger parcel is approximately 100 acres. As for the parcel with the house, you'll notice there's also a few outbuildings there. The petitioner would like to adjust property lines so that the home and the outbuildings are contained on the same lot, resulting in a 3.5 acre lot. It is under 20 acres now, but it was likely split off before the current rule. So they do need that variance in order to do the subdivision. They're also requesting a variance for the front yard setback along Kenilworth to allow the home to stay where it is. Additionally, they will be portioning off another lot from the 100 acre lot. That will be a 24 acre lot with 205 feet of frontage. Staff supports this because by doing so, they actually limit the amount of buildable lots that could be split off from the larger lot. Essentially, the creation of it restricts the number of buildable lots which could be created from the remainder by right. Here's a better picture of the parcel with the house. Here is the property on site from Kenilworth going north. This is the barn on the larger lot. The rear outbuilding is currently on the property line, so the subdivision would correct that as well. This is the northeast corner of Osborne and Kenilworth. There are some homes beyond those trees, more of the surrounding area, mainly farmland and other outbuildings. Here is the site plan provided by the petitioner. You can see where they're adjusting the property lines near the buildings for an end result of a parcel that is 3.5 acres. And then there's that additional 24.1 acre lot that I spoke about. The home is currently about 9.5 feet from the property line, where 35 feet is required for an applicable front yard setback facing Kenilworth. However, as you saw from the pictures, it's still practically set back far from the road. Going to state law criteria, staff is recommending approval of both variances. First, the approval will likely not be injurious to health, safety, or general welfare. The remaining land will continue to be farmed, and we're not adding an additional residential use. The single-family home is sufficiently set back from the road. Second, the use and value would not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Generally, staff does not support creating additional buildable lots in the A district, but this is a previously existing lot that they're adjusting property lines on, and the proposal would actually limit the number of buildable lots they could have by right, while still allowing them to split off the home and outbuildings from the larger agricultural parcel. In addition, the creation of the 24-acre lot, that lot 2 on the site plan, further reduces the amount of frontage available on the larger 100-acre parcel, and therefore restricts the number of buildable lots, which could come from the entire remaining area by right, as in without a variance. As for the setback, the home encroaches into the front lot line, but not any interior lot lines, so it doesn't interfere with any farming operations on adjacent sites. Finally, the strict application would not allow the petitioner to make a necessary adjustment to property lines, which is needed to correct the placement of accessory buildings, one of which is on the rear property line, and just generally combine the areas adjacent that are not being farmed. Requiring Lot 1 to meet the minimum 20-acre standard would take agricultural land out of production. Approval of the variances as they're currently presented allows the ag land to remain intact while still limiting the number of buildable lots that could be created from the remainder. For these reasons, staff recommends approval and can take any questions.
Any questions?
What's the existing lot size currently? 3.5 acres, and there's moving the
It's a
lines, or
half.
is it growing?
It's growing a little bit to contain the home and the outbuildings together. It's like a half acre now.
So the outbuilding is on a totally separate parcel, I guess I'd want to.
Yeah, it's, so here, you can kind of see it there. It's like the outbuildings are incorrectly placed, so this would correct that. And it would put that other outbuilding on the south line with the house.
Gotcha.
Silly question. The 3.5, I understand. There's a rule that we gotta prevent somebody from splitting 24 off of a 80 or 90 acre piece.
So I can let the petitioner explain that more, but basically they added that so that later, because the larger parcel is actually 100 acres.
Right.
So that limits the amount of frontage that could be used later to create more buildable lots.
Well, yeah, but I'm asking, if we just took the 3.5 off, they wouldn't have to come to us to section off 24 acres.
They're not coming to you for that. That's just going to be in the subdivision that follows,
Why was it even brought up?
because it's relevant to the subdivision that follows.
Oh.
They're not requesting any variances related to that. You're right.
The variance is just for the smaller one.
Good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Angela Smith with Dan Charner and Associates. Office is located at 1643 Commerce Drive. Mr. Schaefer, I had the same question when I was filing the petition, so I'll try to explain to you what Mike explained to me. So the property owners here are looking to do some land adjustments as they're looking to their heirs and their future of the property. That we actually had a hard time figuring out where that half acre came from around the house. I'm not even sure the petitioner knew that that parcel line was there, but it is. In fact, we were able to find it. It was tied to a weird deed. But what they're looking to do here is essentially a traditional ag split where they're splitting off the homestead. The only reason the other lot is shown on this is because of discussions with staff. They wanted to make sure that once this went through, they couldn't then take the 97 acres and get additional lots out of this. So this kind of limits it to making sure that there's not enough acreage or frontage to go beyond the 5 buildable lots to 5 buildable lots. So the 100 acres, if you take it, divide by 20, you get 5 buildable lots. By showing that on the site plan, we're effectively committing to not subdividing past that further or getting additional buildable lots out of it. The other 70 so acres will be parceled out under the agricultural lot split with the 20 acres and 600 foot of frontage. So each one of those will be approximately 24 acres. So it'll be 3 ultimately we end up with 4 24-acre lots and 1 3.5-acre lot. Still within the same number of buildable lots. We're not increasing that at all. It's just kind of laying it out for family and all the fun.
The division of all this to do the estate, but also comply with the county rule.
Correct. So it's,
So if the county rule was 5 acres, they might change the division of their lots.
if the the agricultural rule was changed, they would be entitled to change the way their lots are configured. At this point, this is what they need to do to conform with the ag preservation ordinance within the county code. So yes, the future of ag land, as we all know, is changing as technology changes, but this is where they're starting to be in conformance with the number of buildable lots they can get and what they have left, so. As for the setback of the house, technically speaking, under the ordinance, when it's a right-of-way taking, you don't have to ask for that variance, but since we were here, we figured we might as well ask for it and just clean it up. I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Good? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. You guys good? All right, thank you. It's ridiculous that I have to ask this.
I have to do it in court, so.
Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this petition, please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Anybody that would like to speak against this petition, please step forward. Seeing 0. Is there any on Zoom? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. I'll take a motion if you guys have one.
Apparently,
Donnie, we just want to make a motion, we approve both variances as requested.
Adam Devon, second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve petition number 12, I'm sorry, as written. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Based on the testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, the Area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variances and will issue written findings of the facts. Thank you.
Number 13, location 62535 Elm Road. Owner, Tri-Delta Dairy LLC. Requested actions, number 1, from section 154.092 sub A to allow a lot area of 4 acres where a minimum of 20 acres is required for a proposed 2-lot subdivision. Variance number 2 from section 154.092 sub D to allow for a front north setback of 31 feet where 35 feet is required for an existing accessory structure. Zoning A Agricultural District, County.
Farial Sharif, Area Plan Commission staff. The petitioner here is seeking to split off the residential use and the associated outbuildings from the larger 70-acre parcel. Through the subdivision process, they're proposing a 4-acre lot for the house and outbuildings. They would also split off another 32-acre with frontage on Elm and Layton. A variance is necessary for one of the outbuildings, which encroaches just slightly into the applicable front yard setback along Elm. Staff is recommending approval of the variance, but are recommending that the variance be approved with a written commitment that the land not be further divided. I will get into the rationale of this more later. Here is the site as viewed from Elm Road, showing the home and red outbuildings. Something you may notice is that at the time of this site visit, there does look to be 2 homes on the lot. One of these homes is actually set to be demolished. Here is the primary home on site. It's a newly constructed single-story home. Here's another angle showing the accessory structures as viewed from Layton. And this is the 2-story single-family home to be demolished. They had that home up while they were working on the new one. Surrounding area mainly agricultural in nature with some farmstead homes. Here's the site plan. So the current parcel is about 987 feet wide along Elm, around 1,600 along Layton, around 70 acres in total. So that means by right, as in without going for variances. It could be split into 3 buildable lots. The petitioner is proposing a 2-lot minor. We're in Lot 1, containing the residential house is 4.1 acres. Lot 2 is 32.1. The remaining balance of the home would be its own separate 30-acre parcel, and it's exempt from being included because the balance has over 20 acres, more than 600 feet of frontage. Staff's concern with this arrangement is that taken together, Lot 2 and the remaining western parcel appear to have enough acreage and road frontage such that they could be used to build 3 20-plus acre lots without a future variance. The end result, if the variance were just approved as written, could then in the future be 4 buildable lots being created from the current parcel, which only had the potential for 3 by right. However, we are proposing a written commitment that the parcel not be split further after this, either by right or through the subdivision process. That written commitment would prevent the possibility of adjusting lot lines and splitting again to create more buildable lots than what was originally allowed. So that's why staff is asking for that. This is just a more zoomed-in version of the site plan. You can see where the 1-story home that was newly built is. You can also see the other home to be demolished, and the garage, which encroaches minimally into the applicable front yard setback around Layton. Going on to state law criteria, staff finds the approval will likely not be injurious to the health, safety, and general welfare. Variance does not remove any land from agricultural production, rather splits off the area with a single-family home where no other agriculture occurs, intensive agriculture. Accessory structure encroaches minimally into the required front setback and does not impede the clear sight area of those driving on either Layton or Elm Road. Second, the use and value of the area adjacent will not be affected in an adverse manner because with that recommended written commitment in place, they couldn't create an additional buildable lot beyond that which is being proposed or would have been allowed by right. As for the detached accessory structure, it's actually set back further from that existing home to be demolished and does meet the other front back setback requirement along the more heavily trafficked Elm Road. Finally, requiring Lot 1 to meet the minimum 20-acre standard would take agricultural land out of production, which would result in less viable use of the remaining farmland. So for these reasons, staff is recommending approval of the variance with a written commitment that the property not be further divided, either by right or through the subdivision process. I can take any questions.
You guys got any questions?
I do. So if we impose this commitment of either by right, Randy, would that be considered a taking in the future, for the future?
No. Generally speaking, written commitments are not treated that way. They're, although not technically speaking, they tend to be treated more like a contract, as in, we're allowing you to get out of this particular requirement of the law in exchange for you agreeing to do this. That's how it's treated.
So one thing I want to clarify is when we mean by right, generally you have to go through the subdivision process to split properties, but our subdivision ordinance has a provision that says you can split an agricultural lot without going through the process as long as it's contiguous and it has 20 acres or 600 feet of frontage and meets all development standards, as in doesn't need any other variances. So in that case, you just go through the county recorder and the auditor and get it recorded. So we're just saying that they could go ahead and do that if they wanted. We're just asking that they basically don't do that, or either through the subdivision process or the by right process through the auditor, the assessor. And I did do some research on this, and I found that other counties do have things built in their subdivision ordinance as well, where they say after this many, you can't split anymore. So it's not as if this kind of requirement has never,
And in general,
existed.
related to written commitments, they're specifically allowed related to use or development of property, and determining whether or not to subdivide pretty well fits in under development. The other piece of it is if a future owner ever decides that they think this is an onerous requirement, they can always come back to the board and say, please remove it.
Yeah, what they said.
Sorry, I just want to make sure legally.
Yeah, your concern is understandable, but yeah, it's generally treated like a contractual arrangement, as in, I give you this in exchange for you letting me get out of this particular legal requirement.
Guys good?
No, my question is, how do we know that the house is gonna get demolished?
Angela Smith with Dance Harder and Associates, 1643 Commerce Drive. It may actually already be demolished, Mr. Schaefer,
Well,
so.
yesterday.
Okay, well, I'll share the story. So this is actually mom and dad's property. They lived in the two-story house. They're aging and do not want to live in a two-story house anymore. So they had, there's actually 3 houses on this property not that long ago. The third house was demolished. This house, the power and everything have been cut off. So the gas, the power, everything to the building has been cut off. It is scheduled for the Madison Township Fire for a fire burn training. I don't know if they're waiting on a certain conditions. I assume we don't want rain or wind or some of those other things that make that more challenging when we're doing a fire training here. As part of the subdivision process, they will have to properly abandon the septic and well, and I believe their demolition permit is expired, so they'll have to get that updated as well. But it's already, mom and dad have moved out, the kitchen's been removed to make it no longer a dwelling unit. The power has been cut off to it and everything like that to get it ready for the burn. I will admit, I too was confused by the written commitment request because when we did the exercise, we couldn't get 2 additional buildable lots out of the remainder and meet the requirements. But ultimately, we want to see this move forward. So instead of trying to go through that futile exercise with staff and show them all the different ways that we couldn't make it work, we just said, okay, fine. I would, based on our earlier conversation, appreciate if we could add that no future subdivision unless the minimum acreage for agriculture is changed in the future. Otherwise, we would have to come back to terminate the written commitment if for some reason the ag ordinance was changed to allow for a 10-acre lot, for instance. They couldn't subdivide it to meet that 10 acres because of the written commitment. I don't know if staff's agreeable to that,
That's fine.
Okay. I don't know that the ag ordinance is changing anytime soon, but there's always this talk about it out there, so it just kind of helps protect going forward.
So this will be an amended staff's written commitments based on future changes to the ordinance?
Correct.
So that we'll not further subdivide the property by right or by subdivision unless at some point in time, the minimum lot acreage for the A agricultural district is reduced beyond 20%. Or 20 acres, sorry, not percent.
Yeah, exactly that.
So I'm gonna reference 314 in the minutes for that, for what she said. 'Cause I didn't write it down.
Yeah, I think at this point, since she's agreed to it, you can say as agreed to by the
As agreed to the
petitioner.
written commitments. Right?
Yeah,
Amended written commitments?
And written commitments as agreed to by the petitioner.
I'd be happy to answer any other questions about the property if you have some. I can let you know when the house catches on fire and you can come watch it as well, so.
Agreed to petitioner.
I mean, generally in past, at least when I've built on similar properties, the building department typically won't give the new home a occupancy permit until that other house is demolished.
Till the
They give a
demo
temporary
permit-
occupancy.
Till the demo permit is pulled.
No, they'll give a temporary occupancy so they can move in, move out of the house, but they won't give a full occupancy until the house is demolished. Generally is
I think in this case, they disconnected the utilities and removed the kitchen so that it wasn't considered a dwelling unit while they were waiting for the fire department to come. There's no intention for that
Right.
to ever be occupied or stay there.
There's always in-between stage, that's why
Yeah.
they do that.
And construction took much longer than expected, because I think Ariel found the original permit was pulled in 2020, 2021, so you guys can understand that as well, I'm sure.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
They did
All right.
sign an affidavit with the building department saying they would demolish that house.
Okay, you guys got anything else? No? All right, thank you. All right, we'll open this up to the public. Is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this petition? Please step forward. Seeing none. Anybody on Zoom? Seeing none. Anybody that would like to speak against this petition, please step forward. Seeing none. Any on Zoom? Seeing none. Public portion is now closed. I'll take a motion, if you guys got nothing else.
Tom Byers, I move that the variances requested in petition 13 be approved with the written commitment as agreed to by the petitioner and the conditions as suggested by the staff and the staff report.
Donnie Ritzmond, second.
He's so good.
You know, I have to repeat this stuff, right?
You don't have to.
All right, there's a motion and a second to approve petition 13 based off of the written commitments agreed to by the petitioner and the staff's report. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Oh,
Legally, if we say what's in their comments don't necessarily reflect what was discussed.
that's why I said agreed to by the petitioner.
Right, yes.
And what was in the comments.
That wasn't the motion.
I said, I said the conditions in the staff report and the written commitments
They're
based
separate.
based, agreed to by the petitioner.
Then yay.
Then yes. Yes and yes? All in favor? Let's do this again. All in favor? Okay. All right, all opposed? All right, motion passes. Based on testimony presented here today, after careful consideration, Area Board of Zoning Appeals grants your variances and will issue written findings of the facts,
Subject to written commitment.
subject to the written commitments agreed to by the petitioner.
And the conditions.
And the conditions in the staff report. That was in the motion.
Yes, you're good. We're good.
Findings of the facts. I feel, this is why it takes so long to do minutes.
That's a really
self-aware
statement.
Pretty sure the answer to that is yes.
Adam Devon, I make a motion for approval of the findings of facts.
Hold on.
Quality control.
Quality control.
I'm sorry, but it
No,
says
we
adopted
appreciate
by
it.
the ABZA of St. Joe County on May 8th.
Oh, yeah, May 16th.
Yeah.
Good catch. Thank you. We can always rely on you. It's very nice.
If we didn't get kicked out of the room, it'd be fine.
Oh, yeah, this is the one where we got kicked
Yeah.
out, yeah. Okay, so findings, facts as amended by Donnie's,
As the date amended.
as the date has been amended, or as the amended date
To May 16th.
to May 16th.
It's on all of them.
Yes, we'll change it on all of them.
pages. So, is that still your motion?
Thursday,
Yes.
May 16th.
Holy
What is
cow.
going on here?
So, the,
Can't get the date right. Can't get the date right anyway. That's
All right.
Thursday, May
Adam
16th.
Devon, I make a motion for the approval of the amended findings of the facts with the correct date. Dates,
Day and date.
day and dates.
Yep.
Donnie Ritzmond, second.
Holy cow. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Why, you wanna go change the dates?
All right. Motion passes.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Aye.